What's up, guys and gals? My name is Splattercat, and we are here with Weekly Indie Newcomer, our Friday series where I review a random indie game that I've been playing over the last 5 to 6 days, and this is one that I've put a little bit of time into. This one is called Dwarf Tower, and it's by Iosoft, however you want to pronounce it, and it's basically Battleship, except that you have two towers that are being built by dwarves, and you're trying to ferret out each other's Archmage room, and it's a really, really fun game. In fact, I can't wait for this one to get dropped on Steam, so I'm going to put the green light link down below. I'm also going to put the download for the game because it's absolutely totally free. You can go play this right now on Desura at no cost to yourself. You can play it online against other people. Today we're just going to play against some bots so that you can get a feel for how the game flows, but you can play it against other people. It's basically a card game mixed with Battleship, and you will see that as we go through. So in interest of keeping this episode as content filled as possible, let's go ahead and start the game. And so here it is. The enemy always takes their turn first, and he's gone for a rather erect structure, which appears to be kind of challenging us. I definitely feel as though I have been pushed to the point of sword fighting right here, but anyways, he went first, and you can see he's built his tower up off in the distance. Now, the first thing you want to know about this game is your Archmage. Your Archmage is your Dungeon Heart. If this gets killed, you lose. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to kill his Dungeon Heart, and he's trying to kill yours. Whoever wins, wins. Winner take all. Everybody dies. There are no survivors except for him and all of his awesome beer. But anyways, we're going to put in some blocks. So there are 3 kinds of blocks you want to be aware of. There are 4 blocks, which have doors on 4 sides. This one's attached to the ground. Anyways, they have doors on 4 sides. You can only attach another room to a place with a door. So these blocks right here, V blocks, only have an up and a down. You can't attach anything to the side of them. And then H blocks are the exact same thing as a V block, only horizontally. So I'm going to put in, we got a lot at 4 blocks, which is good. That's really, really good, in fact. Getting a lot of 4 blocks in the first turn is usually pretty helpful. After that, we've got a crystal, it generates mana. A library, it holds spells. A dwelling, it holds dwarf abilities, which these green abilities right here are dwarf abilities. And so you need storage for your spells, you need storage for your abilities, and then you also need extra stuff to get them done, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But let's put down some blocks so that we can start playing the game. So the first thing that I think I'm going to do, I'm going to put a V block in right here, and since he's going for a vertical strategy, that means he's trying to maximize the amount of mana that he gets, and we'll talk about why that is in just a second. But I think we should go at least as high as he has, because when a man challenges you, sometimes you have to make your structure just as large as him. It's a Freudian thing, don't ask me. It's a dude contest. Anyway, so there's my structure right now. We've got this wide base compound right now, and then we've got, it looks like a middle finger basically, and that's exactly how I want it to look to him off in the distance. Like, oh, you're gonna build yourself a long, you're gonna build yourself a phallus-shaped object. Well, here, I'm gonna build you a middle finger-shaped object. How about that, buddy? How about that, guy? What are you doing, friend? And that's just how it's going to go along. Now, we can place the crystal to get mana, and that's what we're going to do. It's important to note that most buildings in this game, or most rooms in this game, the higher up you put them, the better they are. They gain a level every time you put them up an extra floor. The same thing goes for dwarfish dwellings, except they go down into the earth. The deeper down into the earth you are, the better dwarf dwellings are. So you've just kind of got to balance between putting things above ground and putting things below ground. I'm going to dig as deeply as I can right now. You want to be aware that they can flood this out. We're going to go over the phases in just a moment. I'm going to put in my Archmage tower right there at the crux. Against a player online, I probably wouldn't do something so brazen because it's really, really obvious. But in this case, I'm just going to do it because in general, the AI seems to act sort of randomly. It does make smart plays every now and again, but mostly it just seems to be random. I'm going to put a dwelling in right there. I'm not going to assign it, though, for a reason. So basically, you see how these bars are empty up above them? That means that they aren't storing anything right now, and the little number is how many spells they can store. So these are dwarf abilities right here, and I have 1 dwarf storage right there, so I could store 1 of the abilities, but none of these are what I want. I want firefighters just in case. Fire, super, super deadly in this game. Fire will cause you endless problems, and it will make you want to cry yourself to sleep every single night using your beard as a hanky. Okay, and so he's opted to put a hat on his tower, and then it's grown kind of it's got like a Roger Ebert thing going on the side of the tower. That's not a very nice joke, but I felt like I was going to go for it anyways. And then we need to put in H blocks. And so we're actually going to mirror his strategy. We're going to put in a dome right there, and then we're going to put in an H block. Why do you put in this dome? The dome protects you. Let's say that he tries to hit this block right here with a spell. It destroys the dome instead. It's basically just an extra round worth of armoring. I'm also going to put in a library on the top floor because that'll store 4 spells. We'll put the eye into one of our libraries. The eye is an ability that lets us see what's in one of his rooms. So the eye is actually kind of a game ruiner sometimes. Like every now and again, you'll get a really lucky check with an eye, and you'll find their Archmage on like the first turn. You'll be like, well, that was way too easy, and then you'll blow it up summarily. The game is pretty fast. You can play it very, very quickly. I don't think I've ever had a game go longer than maybe 15 minutes. I mean, and that was a really, really intense game where our towers were super high up in the air, and both me and the other player were bombarding each other with spells, and it just got completely and totally out of hand. There's firefighters, so that's what I wanted, just in case we end up with a fire later on. I'm going to dome in. I want to dome that right there. I want to dome that. And they're like, no, you cannot dome this. I'm like, well, fine then. I don't want to dome it that badly anyways. I'm going to put in another bit to our tower right there. We've got like a, if we could put a hat on each one of these, it would be like a trident. And that would be awesome. I think I'm going to go for another dwarf dwelling on the first floor. And then we're going to store a lightning spell for later in our Archmage library. Can't use this dome on anything except that right there, so I suppose we will. I don't know. I probably shouldn't have done that because I could have built up into the left off of it, but... In fact, that was a really dumb mistake, but oh well. Let's cast a lightning. It's going to hit his highest point. You'll see what I mean. It's going to destroy one of his hats. Hat destruction. And so now his building is hatless. It is no longer shaded from the sun. It will make a terrible field worker. I think we've got an H block on this turn. So I'm going to continue expanding out all these layers so that we can put buildings, or I'm sorry, so that we can put rooms in every single one of these little guys right here, so we have lots of leveled up stuff. Anything level 3 or higher, pretty useful to you. Pretty useful. Unfortunately, what I will note is, let's say he destroys this block right here, all of these will fall off and die. So this block right here is like the thing that he wants to destroy very, very badly right now. He's probably eyeballing it already, just like, I could destroy this super useful thing. Maybe I should do that. He shot us with a laser, and then he also flooded our basement. And as you see, the water falls to the bottom level, so it's not too bad of a obstacle. Well, we got doors, and what doors do is that they prohibit the spreading of fire in between rooms. And so doors are actually incredibly useful for protecting your Archmage tower, because fires do spread, and they spread very, very quickly. Luckily, we haven't had any fires set yet, but we will in the future, I can almost promise you. I don't have any more space for anything. So let's go ahead and wait it out. He's hit me with a lightning bolt, and there's our first fire. We're going to go ahead and put it out right away with one of our firefighters. And we're going to go grab a... I suppose we'll continue tunneling slightly. Really bad luck with our blocks on this. The game is a card game. These are basically just little cards that you draw randomly, and so you can have bad luck. We've had a little bit of good luck and we've had a little bit of bad luck so far. We are getting way too many H blocks, which is worrying me slightly. But other than that, it hasn't been too terrible. We're going to store our rain spells and our ray spells so that we can actually return fire. So what is the point of flooding the basement? Well, let's say that I had a dwarf settlement down in here, or a library. Anything that you have down in the basement that's flooded, you can't use until you actually pump the water out, so... Luckily, we just have big holes underneath our base right now, so it's nothing to concern ourselves with, but in another situation, it could actually be quite nasty for us. I'm actually going to attack right there, because that seems to be the crux of so many pieces of his base. If we can blow this... Actually, I probably should have gone one lower, but if we blow this up, all three of those will fall off, so we're getting more bang for our buck right now. And if there's one thing I know, I'd like to get as much bang out of this as possible. Our laser missed, and we hopefully have flooded some aspect of his base out. I don't know. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. And so now he's doing like this weird little teabagging thing off of his central tower. His tower is definitely looking a bit more impressive than ours. Ours has kind of a strange... I have no idea, honestly. It's like a mace with like a pointy thing on top, but then also kind of like a... It almost looks like the turret from Team Fortress. Like there's the gun part, and then there's... I don't know. I'm making stuff up. Oh, so we got an armor card. That means that we can add an extra HP to any room. I'm going to add it to that room right there, because bad things happen if that room gets hit. Normally I would deploy it on my Archmage, but we're just going to hold off on it for right now. We do have repairers, and so I'm going to play repairers on that right there. That'll fix the room up so that it's no longer partially damaged. I'm also going to play tunnelers to dig down again. I believe I'm going to play... We still have a firefighters left, so I'm going to play a dynamite right there. And the fun thing about dynamite, it deploys randomly to any of their bottom levels, and it does 1 HP's worth of damage, so let's see what happens here. So we blew up that one. I was hoping to get this one right here, but no such luck. Oh well, what are you gonna do? We should probably continue tunneling to make sure that the water continues to drain out, because we are definitely accruing water. We are storing water like crazy right now, like a pregnant lady. So I think, oh my god, more H blocks. What are they doing with these H blocks? I don't even want these. I don't want these H blocks at all. These H blocks are terrible. Well, given that we're having very, very bad luck with our H blocks, Let's store up some spells. We've got plenty of mana coming in per turn, so we should be able to just unload on this guy during the course of the next couple turns. We do have movers. I could, like, move stuff around, but I'm going to deploy everything I have at him. So rats basically function the same as fire, except they don't spread. Rats sit there and they chew on a room until the room just collapses on its own weight. They basically destroy the infrastructure of a room over time. So the first turn they don't do anything. The second turn I think they deal a damage. The third turn I don't think they do anything. And the fourth turn I think they destroy the room or something like that. And they deploy randomly to the bottom floor of the enemy's base. So we'll deploy 2 rounds of rats. We'll do a rain, and then we'll also deploy a dynamite. So his bottom floor right now is about to get destroyed. It's about to be really, really bad. And so, there we go. We've got rain, both rats have been deployed, and we've deployed dynamite. Actually, that's a really precarious piece for him. That could wipe out his entire base if I destroy that room right there. I should probably do that. And I used up my ray, too. Oh, good! We finally got a 4-block. The game has decided to love us. Okay, well, let's deploy our 4-block right there. I'm also going to armor basically all of these rooms where things can fall apart. I would like... We'll throw another dwelling on the first floor. I mean, I'm not making very good use of my dwellings. Normally what you'd want to do is deploy rooms down into the ground and then put your dwarves down underneath. But since it's all flooded right now anyways, I don't think there's really any point. I think we should probably back off on that because that means I got to do a whole bunch of pumping. And while that sounds like fun, not really. Not really. Let's store up like 1,000,000 lightning spells, a disturbance, and an earthquake. We've got repairers. I think I'll store repairers. Sure, why not? So on this turn, we've got 27 mana. If you look at the top right corner, you can see these resources that I've been talking about the whole time. 27 mana and 10 dwarves. It's going to cost us... I don't know what disturbance does. What does disturbance do? We're about to find out. It didn't tell me. Usually there's a tooltip for these things. We'll do 2 rounds of lightning to destroy some of his hats, and then a dynamite. Oh, that's right. Okay, disturbance causes one of his crystals to blow up. Yeah! Oh, we didn't win. But that was a pretty good play right there. I mean, that was random. I didn't have any control over it, but it still happened. It still happened, and it was awesome. And so I like it when the enemies... But he's only got these 2. He's got a shack, and look at our awesome tower. Oh, how amazingly, amazingly phallic. I love it. Oh, we did win. Okay, so it just didn't... I guess it said you win, but I didn't see it. We have time, I think, to play another round. I think you guys would like that as well, right? So let's play another round. I mean, I think we're only like halfway into the episode, so let's go again. This time he's made kind of an L. He's trying to tell us that we're a backwards loser. That's what he's going for. He's made a backwards L, just to let us... Either that or he doesn't realize that from my perspective, it's mirrored. So either he's stupid or he's being metaphoric right now. He's adding adjectives to his loser. But anyways, let's go ahead and... We got V blocks. We got 3 4 blocks. That's not bad. Well, looking at what we have right now, let's go ahead and deploy tunnelers. We'll put a V block in there because I haven't done this yet in the playthrough. And so there you go. We got a level 2 dwarf room right now. We continue to expand that out down lower. This can store 2 dwarf abilities. So we got firefighters and pumpers, both equally useful. We will place... Let's go 2 4 blocks upwards. Actually, let's go up as high as we can, and then we'll just kind of deploy randomly. We'll put in another dwarf dwelling right there. I'm going to put in my archmage at that central location, since we're going to be armoring it and adding all kinds of good stuff to it anyways. We'll put the crystal at the highest point so that we start generating mana early. There's no attacks on the first turn. We don't need to use any of our dwarf abilities. He's building off to the side right now. He's making kind of a Z shape right there. If I was in structural geology, I'd be like, oh my god, it's an S-fold. And I'd be, that's not a Z, that's an S. I know my letters, don't make fun of me. School was hard. I think, I'm a college graduate now. I don't have to remember anything useful anymore. At least for a couple weeks. So I'm gonna put in another dwelling. I'm gonna put in, I don't want to put in a hat right now because that'll stop me from building any further. So let's avoid that. I am gonna cast a lightning though, why not? Maybe we'll set a fire early in the game and it'll just be a total dick to him and he'll have a horrible time trying to recover. Fires early on in the game are so bad. They're terrible. They're absolutely miserable. They make you just want to weep. They make you want to just roll over into the corner and never come out of your house ever again. Your tower, I guess. This doesn't look like it would be structurally... I really feel like the integrity of this building, it's a little bit lumpy. I mean, I feel like with a strong wind it would just be like, and fall off to the side and you'd be like, well, damn. That project didn't go according to plan. It's one of those Tim Allen projects. I'm going to use the eye to ferret out where his rooms might be. So he's got a dwarf settlement right there. My guess is then that his archmage is right there. Let's wait it out. He didn't return fire, so I guess he must not have very much right now. I'm going to deploy a library to right there. So we've got a level 3 library. I'm going to put a eye and a lightning in that one. We'll put a dynamite in our settlement right there. We've got another H block to play around with. We'll put that on the next floor up. Still don't want to dome anything. Although that is one of my favorite pastimes, is doming things. Doming people. I think that we'll avoid it for now. I'm going to use the eye. Oh no, he's in a library right there. Well then, he's been playing risky because that can only mean that it's one of these right here. I don't think that one was in the game earlier, so it's got to be one of these, which means if I destroy this room, we're going to get it by default. I believe... Oh, I thought I was assigning spells. Well, we'll do a lightning and a dynamite right now. Lightning has hit the top of the building, and dynamite has blown up that bottom left corner. Not what I was going for. I was hoping we would blow up that one right there to get it primed up for a laser later on, but we'll take what we can get right here. Deploy that H block and that V block. Put the crystal on high so as to ensure that we always have enough mana to unload on the enemy when we want to, because what could be better than unburdening yourself on someone else's property? When I was growing up when we were kids, my friend had like this squishy toilet seat at his house. Like, it was one of those toilet seats that was basically just super squishy. It had like cotton or wool or something in it, and it was just made out of this awesome, I don't know. It was an amazing invention, and I'm wondering why more people don't have these. But anyways, we all used to wait all day to use the bathroom in his house. It was the greatest thing ever. That's one of my memories as a kid, just holding it so that you could use that awesome squishy toilet seat. It was our Valhalla. It was our Elysium. It was our beer at the end of the day. Oh god. I think I'm gonna... Let's assign rats. I don't think they're gonna be very useful right now, but we will assign them. And then I think I'm gonna cap this thing off just in case. We'll start building in other directions. Attacks that we can do. We can do rats right now. We can also do dynamite, so I'm gonna do both. The rats have attacked... Oh, good. They attacked the building that I wanted them to. Unfortunately, our dynamite has not made it. No! He drowned all of our dwarves. Bastard. Filthy, filthy bastard. How could you do such a terrible thing to such a wonderful, loving, hairy group of people? How could you? Alright, well... We don't have pumpers right now, so until we have pumpers, we can't fix this. Let's just store up some of our spells. We've got Collapse, we've got Fire, we've got Rain, we've got Flood, we've got Fireball, we've got Dwelling. I'm gonna let these dwarves live way up in the air, because everybody knows that dwarves love altitude, right? I think we've got 22 mana right now. We could do 18 right there, or we can go for a 21 Flood, Rain, Fire. Let's go for Collapse, actually. And we'll see if that'll destroy it. So basically what Collapse does is it destroys one underground structure. It's very, very annoying when you dig a lot underground. Luckily, we aren't doing an underground strategy, otherwise it would be the bane of our existence. But knowing how much he has underground now, I'm actually going to... Let's cast a Rain as well to see if we can't flood it. And so, after destroying and collapsing one of his tunnels, we've now also flooded one of his tunnels, which is good for us. Why he would cast... I guess he doesn't know that we don't have more underground. I'm going to place a 4-block... Oh, do we have tunnelers right now? Oh, we do. Good. So that's going to drain out there. It's going to save me the problem of having to use pumpers. Although I will use them right now to get rid of that so that I can put in a 4-block right there. And then I'll assign movers. And what we'll do is we'll have them use movers on themselves to move themselves down underground. I'm also... Oh, I don't have anywhere to put a fence. Okay, so never mind. I don't take offense to that at all. Or offense from that. I'm going to put in rats, we'll go with fires, we'll go with the eye, why not? And then we have nowhere to play the fence, and so I'm going to play movers right now. And we are going to move this guy down to there. And so now we have a level 3 dwarf hovel. Hell yeah, so he can hold 3 dwarf abilities. We've also got the eye, so I'm going to play that, and there it is. We found their Archmage room. Now, since so many of the spells are not targeted, that doesn't help us a ton, but it still helps us a little bit. We don't have enough mana to play anything other than rats. I don't feel like playing rats this turn, so we're just going to wait and allow our mana to accrue a little bit. I'm going to go for another V block at the top, because why not? Why not build this thing a little bit higher? We may as well. His is getting pretty high right there, and I want ours to be even better. So it's a challenge at this point. It is a man duel. We will see how this thing ends. I'm going to apply dynamite right there. We'll give him repairers. We'll give him repairers. We'll go with 2 more tunnels down below just to guarantee that it doesn't get flooded for a couple turns. And we'll drop a dwelling right there. I don't know. It'll be fine. And then assign some of these spells off. We got a pretty good spell book going right now. We've only got 14 mana because we're only getting 9 per turn. So I think what we want to do is if we could get a couple more crystals, we'd be in really good shape. But Dwarf Tower is one of the few times where a little bit of extra crystal is actually a good thing for you. I think... let's go for a fireball. Well, let's definitely go for a dynamite, because if we can blow up that right there, problem solved. And then I think I will save the remainder of my mana for next turn. So we blew up one room. He set us on fire up top. I'm going to deploy firefighters and repairers to fix that. We've got 27 dwarves. I mean, we got, for whatever reason, it costs you dwarves to fix problems. They're treating dwarves like they're gnomes, and your dwarves physically die whenever they go to fix a problem. So that's that. I don't judge it. I don't question it. It's just the way that it goes. Ooh, and we actually are set up for a really, really devastating next turn. Let's go ahead and put all of our direct damage spells in that we can. I'm going to armor our Archmage room right there so it has an extra HP. I'm going to continue building upwards because at this point I just want to see how high up on the map I can get. Got firefighters, we'll deploy those. Deratitizers, we have those too. Floods, sure. Rats, why not? Bring them all along. We'll turn this into a biblical pestilence. We have nothing else to fix or repair, and oh, this turn is going to be juicy sweet. So we're going to do 9 mana's worth of lightning. I'm going to cast a dynamite as well. We'll do a fireball. We got 14 mana. What can I do with that? I could do a fireball and a rat. I could do... not a whole lot, actually. Let's go for a ray instead, just to guarantee I hit the room that I want. I'm going to start hitting that little corner room really, really hard. So there it is. Oh, we actually sabotaged ourselves right there. What I would have rather had... no! He's firing back. You're not allowed to fight back. That's not okay. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll deratitize the bottom room right there, and then we'll also repair it. We've got a pretty good supply of just like backup contingencies right now. This has been a really good hand for us. So unfortunately what happened right there is I would have liked that fire to spread, but we destroyed our own fire with lightning. So a little bit of a tactical fail right there. Lightning always hits the highest point, and I should have thought about that. But I was going for maximum damage as though we weren't going to set a fire, because every time I rely on a fire getting set, it doesn't happen. And every time I don't rely on one getting set, it happens. It's the weirdest thing. Ah, I finally got a crystal. I'm going to put that up on that floor so that we can get a bunch of mana out of this thing. And from there, let's just store up some of these spells for later. I mean, obviously we've got enough to seal the game off right now if we can get both of our rays to hit. I believe that I would like to... I mean, I'm going to store all these spells. I don't really have a use for most of them, but we'll store them. I think that's about it. On this turn, we've got 20 mana, so I'm going to go for 2 rays. Both of which are going to be directed right there. And if we can land this, we should win. Oh, we missed the second one. We almost won. He blew up our super awesome library, but he missed the other one. God, we were trying to seal this thing off, but it just won't let it happen. If we had hit both of those rays, we would have won, because it would have collapsed that tower right there. I'm going to start putting in H blocks on the bottom floor. We'll put in a V block right there. Sure, why not? Because we have movers. And so I'm going to move him down to... oh, I assigned that. Never mind. Bad play. I'll assign pumpers for later. Obviously firefighters for later, because firefighters are crazy useful. We'll assign another crystal up here because we could always use the mana. We'll use the eye. Oh, he fixed the room. Okay. That's fine. We don't have a ton of mana right now, and I'd rather go for an all-out... let's go for a fire and a fireball, just to see what kind of problems we can cause. So we lit a fire on the top of his tower. That's really good. And we didn't light a fire right there, unfortunately. I was hoping we would, but no such luck. If we had 2 fires on both ends of his Archmage tower, I'd almost guarantee we'd win by the next 2 or 3 turns. And so this is actually turning into one of the long games that tends to run for a while. I'm excited about this. I was wondering if this would happen on camera, and I'm pretty stoked that it did. Let's store up some dynamite. We'll install doors just about everywhere to ensure that fires don't spread in the case that we do end up with a fire. Put another library over there, and we'll just stock it full of all kinds of awesome evocation spells. I always played a conjurer in D&D myself, but evocation had its pluses. I think evocation couldn't use... They couldn't use like alteration or something. It was something really, really useful that they couldn't use, as I recall. And that's why I never played evokers. I felt like playing a conjurer. I think you lost access to illusion or something like that, which was like, I don't care about talking to people and tricking them anyways. I just want to blow shit up. So as you can see, the fire is spreading. See the flames begin to crawl onwards, upwards, whatever. I don't know how the song goes. I am going to set more fires because I find it to be humorous. So let's do that, and then we'll also throw some dynamite around. Yeah. Well, the other one failed, but, you know, we're setting fires. We're doing our thing. We've blown up 2 rooms. He's trying to flood us right now in a return of... Oh, God, he flooded everything. That was an impressive round of flooding. I mean, it's not going to save him. He's pretty much toast. He's already got fire on his Archmage room, so we just got to wait this thing out at this point. Let's dome the top. And we will play Pumpers. We'll play Pumpers one more time, and that'll get us down to where we can at least use some of our dwarves here. We will go... Oh, I should have played Dynamite, but whatever. He's got so many little sap lines right there that we can't get through that it'll be okay. We'll play Dynamite on him. And after this point, I think we're just about out of everything that we could do. I mean, we could store up more spells, obviously, but not going to need them. This game's over. Then again, what's life if not the ability to add a little insult to injury? We'll go like a fireball, we'll go a lightning strike, we'll go a dynamite, we'll go a few more lightning strikes, whatever. Let's get up in there. We'll deploy some rats on this fool. We'll just make this thing ugly as hell. It is a bad day to be your base. And so there it is, his Archmage Tower finally burned down, and we have won. So the pros of this game are going to largely be related to the fact that, like, if you enjoy board games and you enjoy tabletop games, you will like this a lot. It is a card game, so that's on the cons end of the spectrum, is that there's always going to be some inherent level of RNG where sometimes you just get a really bad hand over and over and over again, and you just can't seem to, like, liberate yourself from this nasty cycle of suck. And that's with all TCGs, I mean, it happens. And so anyways, I would say that the pros of the game are that it's free, it's a lot of fun to play online against other players. I would have played online during this episode, but I didn't update my game, and it's just like, you know, the best laid plans and all that fun stuff. So I do think that there are a lot of fun things about this game. It's really one of those tense games where so many of your spells are randomly targeted as well, where you don't really have control over your assault a lot of the time. And so I think that also adds to the fact that the game can be tremendously humorous, where you know what you have to destroy, but you can't quite hit it with the spell that you need. And it has the potential to be really, really tense as you sit there and wait for the other player to say, like, B5 and sink your battleship. So anyways, I think the Dwarf Tower is a really fun game. It's free. You can get it on Desura right now. You should vote for it on Greenlight so that it can jump up on Steam. I look forward to seeing you all next week in Weekly Indie Newcomer. If you're new to the Nerd Castle and you've never seen this series before, I do this every Friday, where I talk about an indie game that nobody's ever heard of, or one that I've been playing over the last week that I found to be really entertaining that I feel like hasn't gotten enough love in the media. This game is made by Iosoft. Feel free to download it down below. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care out there, everybody, and hi-do.